Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome, my friends. My name is Vincenzo, and welcome to my channel, Fountain Pen Therapy. We're going to change it up a little bit in this review. We're going to move away from pens, and we're going to take a look at 3 inks that I've just ordered from Wearingeul. I got to tell you, I never stop ordering from this company. They make just wonderful, wonderful inks, and it seems that every time I look at any site that sells this ink, or even the Wearingeul site, I'm always missing 1 or 2 that I wanted to order. I finally got these 3 that I've been looking at for a while. So I figured I'd give you the benefit of my look at it, and hopefully you can decide whether or not they should form part of your collection. So without any further ado, we will be swatching these 3 inks. And as you may know, if you've seen previous videos, until now, and perhaps it will continue to be my preferred swatch book from Inkpressions or Good Inkpressions, available on the Etsy site. I will provide the details in my description. It's a swatch book where, you know, your swatch is on the left, the brand name of the ink, the name of the ink, and the date you purchase it. And you swatch your ink on Tomoe River paper, which is, you know, one of the better papers, if not the best paper, in terms of bringing out the best in any ink. So we will swatch in this book, but I figured I'd, you know, try this new one. It's a swatch book from Wearingeul. It's much thicker paper, and it's supposed to bring out the best as well. It's a color swatch book in its bottle, so you swatch your ink in the bottle, if you will, and then you name the brand and the ink. So we'll try that for the first time and see how that works out. And if I note that the performance is nice, it might be a change. What I like about this one, if it does work well, is because it's thicker stock paper. It won't see through as much as the Tomoe River paper. Although I've got to tell you, they don't provide, you know, the use of the backside. So I guess there's still some ink that will unfortunately feather or see through on the other side. So let me gather all my tools, and we'll be right back and do some swatching. Okay, so we're back with my swatch books. We'll start with the Wearingeul swatch book, and we'll take it from there. First ink will be For Whom the Bell Tolls. So let's see what this ink looks like. Okay, we're going to try to ink that as much as we can within the bottle. There we go. That should be okay. And I've got a pen already inked up with this ink, so it's this Wearingeul For Whom the Bell Tolls. Okay, here we go. That's one. We'll see how that works out. So that's number 1. Next up is Dracula. Okay, I didn't feel comfortable with that Kimori nib. You know, I'm going to use my folded pen nib, my trusted folded pen nib that I use on all my swatches. There we go. It's a little larger than one would want, but that should do the trick. Okay, so that's Dracula, and I already have a pen, another Ranga pen with this ink in it. Wearingeul Dracula. Beautiful bear. Just a gorgeous red, this Wearingeul Dracula, must admit. Okay, last but not least, I forgot to shake up the Wearingeul Dracula, so maybe we'll redo it. I just noticed it has shimmer, and the shimmer may not be coming out because I didn't shake up as well as I should have. So maybe we'll redo that swatch. Okay, so this is Path. And here again, I've got this Marte Modena pen, which kind of resembles quite a bit the color, already inked up. And this is Path. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to redo Dracula, with your permission, but I'm going to shake it up before we, because I don't see the shimmer is not in that swatch, and I apologize. I should have thought about it ahead of time, but that's my mistake. So let's just lightly go over that swatch. There we go, so we can see whether or not that shimmer comes out. Okay, so that's okay. So those are the three swatches on this Wearingeul swatch book. Next up is my Tomoe River Good Impressions, and we'll see how those react. Boy, my hands are already all filthy. Let's start with For Whom the Bell Tolls, and we will move on to the rest. So, For Whom the Bell Tolls, here we go. I got to tell you, I just like this swatch book so much better. I mean, I'm given, you know, I have the freedom to make a nice, big, thick swatch, but, you know, maybe that's not what we should do, though, because it doesn't, that's not what you do with pens, you know, after all. But I just like this Tomoe River so much that, again, my Ranga is already inked, so this is, oops, sorry, Wearingeul, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and this was in August 2023. It has a 1.5 stub nib on that, so there we go. Next up will be my Dracula. This time I make sure that I will shake it up nicely. And wash it out and get a nice big swatch here. And that does take care of Dracula. Once again, I have a pen already inked up with this beautiful, beautiful ink. Wearingeul. Again, a 1.5 stub just to get the thickness And here again, purchased in August 2023. So that's Dracula. Next up is Path. Again, shimmering ink at the bottom, so we'll shake that up just so that we get the maximum effect of this ink. By the way, just a reminder, you shouldn't do that if you're going to ink your pen because it creates bubbles from what I understand, and that's not good for the pen itself. But, you know, when you're doing a swatch, that's a different story. We can do it quicker by shaking it quicker. So here we go. And this is Path. Here again, I have this Marta Modena Freedom, which is already inked up with a 1.5 stub. Wearingeul Path, and it's August 2023. Okay, so those are the three swatches. We'll let them from both swatch books dry up nicely, and we'll come back and do a comparison, and we'll take it from there. Okay, be right back. Okay, so we're back with the two sampling or swatch notebooks, and to kind of compare the two to see whether or not this brand new Wearingeul Swatch book that I just purchased will convince me to be the go-to swatch book compared to this Good Impressions Tomoe River. I mean, I think the verdict is still out, but having said that, here are the swatches that Wearingeul provides in the box itself, okay, to give you a description of the ink. And you could see that it, you know, the swatches in the books themselves kind of mirror best the Wearingeul notebook swatches as opposed to my Tomoe River. What I like about the Tomoe River is a couple of things. First of all, well, For Whom the Bell Tolls, I don't know if you could see this, but maybe if I bring it up a little bit closer, you'll be able to see it much better. You know, the blue teal comes out much more, and then there's the red sheen. Now that corner didn't quite dry up yet, but it eventually will look like this. In other words, you'll see red sheen as a secondary color, and the teal will come out. In terms of the Dracula, well, you could see the shimmer. Okay, the shimmer is there, definitely. That silver shimmer is ever present. Even on the handwriting, it's there. So it's quite nice, actually. As far as the path is concerned, again, there's that blob there at the end, but you know, the rest gives you quite a bit. You know, get a very good idea. We're talking about a green gold and essentially beautiful ink. Just, I mean, look at that. It looks like a bronze metallic almost. Same with Dracula. I just hope it doesn't not ruin my pens, but clog up my pens, because I'd love to be able to write with it for a longer period of time. So that's the Tomoe River. Now, when you look at the Wearingeul Swatch book, I don't like the way For Whom the Bell Tolls comes out. It comes out almost as a big black blob. Don't see the blue. The Dracula comes out very nicely. Don't forget that I had to redo the swatch a little bit just to get the sheen in there, and it kind of mirrors, I think it resembles what I saw in the Tomoe River. Same thing with this path. There you got that metallic. In fact, it's even nicer, I would say. It's much more gold on this Wearingeul. just the For Whom the Bell Tolls, which is not a shimmering ink, does not give me the same results. There you have it. So I still think these are very, very nice. I still think that this notebook is you know, it's still out. The verdict's still out, but I'm not going to give up on it. I'm not going to give up on it just because I like the cardstock. It's quite thick. You could see that on the other side. There's hardly any show through at all, so that could, you know, really work out nicely. So there you have it. That's the comparison of the two swatch books, and we'll come right back. Now, in addition to just a swatch, as you may have noticed, so as I mentioned actually while I was writing down the name of the inks in the swatch books, I've already inked up 3 pens with the 3 inks in question, so you can get a sampling of what the ink, how the ink performs with actual writing samples. So once again, let's start with this. I have the For Whom the Bell Tolls in this Ranga, and it's inked up with a one. They're all 1.5 stubs. Okay, so we can get the maximum effect. So let's think that up and see how that performs. Okay, one second, just to get my lighting straight here. Okay, so this is the Wearingeul ink, and it's the For Whom the Bell Tolls. As you can see with this, quite a gusher. It just, you know, especially with this 1.5 stub, you can really get to see the thickness of the strokes and some of the sheen that should come out of this ink should be a little more evident with a 1.5. The next up is Wearingeul ink, and it's the Dracula. Again, 1.5 stub in this Ranga pen, gusher, as you can see. And we should see some shading and even some sheen, frankly, from this ink. So that's Wearingeul Dracula. Next up, this Marta Modena Freedom pen with a 1.5 Goulet nib, Wearingeul ink, path. Once again, the thickness, gusher, nice wet ink, very nice line variation, and there again, when it dries up, we should be able to get some of the that gold shimmer that comes out of these. These are the 3. So these are the 3 writing samples. Let me just back up a little bit so I can get all of them in my page. As you could see, first of all, the first one, you get to see a little bit of that red sheen come out. Okay, with the Dracula, I can see some of the shading and some of the shimmer as well. And in that path, you get to see the gold glitter. So it's kind of a gold green with some sheen and shading and shimmer. So these inks are beautiful. I don't know how bad the shimmer is in both the Dracula and the Path. I'm going to test the pen all week. I'll be writing with them, and maybe you guys can leave a comment if you've had any experiences with these inks. I find generally that the Wearingeul shimmering inks, you know, perform fairly well. They don't clog up your pen as much as some of the others. I know that, for example, diamine or diamine shimmering inks are so shimmer. There's so much, glitter in there that sometimes it's not ideal. On the other hand, if you take an ink like Jacques Herbin, I mean, you can ink your pens even with the shimmer, and it's perfectly fine. It performs really, really well. I would hope, and I'm hoping that these inks do the same, but that remains to be seen. So there you have it. That's the writing sample, and that essentially completes my review of these three inks. I hope I gave you some indication of what these inks can do, so that you can make your own choices, especially if one of these three inks is in your vision, purchase vision or purchase intentions. There you have it. Please subscribe. If you have any comments, please leave them down below, and we'll see you, or will be joining me, please, in my next video. Thank you.